All right, so here we have a breaking situation. The operator bundle that Nickmercs and Tim the Tapman kind of made and they've been promoting, well, Nickmercs has been taken off the bundle. And it says, due to recent events, we have removed the Nickmercs operator bundle from the Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone store. We are focused on celebrating pride within our employees and our community. So you might think, oh, why? What's Nickmercs done that's so bad? Well, let's have a look. There's a tweet here from MLG Puckett, and he says, this happened 4 blocks away from my Overwatch League apartment. Americans are in a pretty sad place right now. Just live, let people love who they love and live your own life. And then the post says, anti-LGBT protesters attack pro-LGBT demonstrators outside of a Glendale CA school board meeting. And there's obviously a scuffle. What Nickmercs says is they should leave children alone. That's the real issue. Meaning they don't need to be fighting each other. They don't need to be, sort of doing in-depth education on children. What they should do is just do a little bit of education and really just focusing on letting the kids be kids, because that is what a kid is. They play, they learn a little bit, they get stuff wrong, and this has caused such a humongous issue that he has to be removed for basically, quote, the safety of our employees and our community, because he said that children should just be left alone in school and basically be allowed to just do the schoolwork and get on with it and not have to worry about all this stuff. We have people saying, wow, big props to Call of Duty for the swift action. This is how you stand up to bigotry, discrimination, and hate. Where did he say there was any bigotry, discrimination, or hate? He just said, let kids be kids, leave them alone. Is this really what we're doing? By the way, this is Call of Duty, a game where you shoot, murder, and kill people. Like, hello. Not going to have Call of Duty ever go at any school shooting issues, are we? No. Not going to have anything to do with that, are we? Now, I don't think video games cause violence, but the point is, it's very rich, isn't it? Coming from a game studio that sell and promote guns and shooting and violence, to have all these stances, but just be quiet on a few things because they know they'll get in trouble for, won't they? So Nickmercs responds to the backlash, and I'll let him respond.
That I want to be the one and my wife wants to be the one to speak with our child about stuff like that. And that was the tweet. That was the tweet. You can take the tweet if you want, and you can spin it, flip it, flop it, quote tweet it.
So here's what he's saying. The entire point is, listen, you can teach children about the body parts and the functions, but when it comes to those nuances about feelings and how to be kind to one another and all of this, yes, you can have some very, very basic classes, but parents should be the ones, or at least should be given the option to teach their children about how to behave properly and learn about the nuances, because these are children. I remember in my day, you would have a tomboy. I had a girl across the road from me that was a tomboy. She's now the complete polar opposite of a tomboy. Now, growing up in today's society, would that child have had to have genital mutilation? Would she be on hormone therapy? Would she have transitioned to a boy? And then come when she turns 18, 20, truly regret it? We don't know. The point is to have these discussions probably should be between parents, and not having some, let's be honest, sometimes idiotic teacher teach these things. So I'm trying to find the clip here. Here's one. I don't really watch him that much. Ben Shapiro.
Small children.
With the younger children starting in pre-K, we talk about their bodies, about the parts that they were born with, about penises and vaginas, and whether that makes somebody a boy or a girl. But
so you can talk about that, right?
Also,
that makes
feelings.
Sense.
What do they feel like inside? Do they feel like a boy or a girl? What does their head say?
Don't worry.
But what does that mean? How can a child be how can a teacher be teaching a literal 5-year-old about what they're feeling inside themselves? They don't even know. They don't even know. One day they'll lash out at the parents and the next day they won't. They're just a kid, aren't they? So they're trying to say that, come on, it's way too ridiculous to be teaching this kind of stuff this early. And what Thingy was saying, Nickmercs was basically saying, yeah, you know, you can treat everyone equally, you can be kind, but these like massive nuances, I'd prefer it if I could keep it in-house and me and my wife chat to my kid about it. That's what we'd prefer. And that gets him removed from Call of Duty. Is that where we're at? And then you have all these bandwagoners jumping on. You've got like Hassan. Now listen to Hassan. Listen to how Hassan spins this. Nickmercs is given a pretty reasonable take there. Now here we go. Listen to this one.
With him? Yes, because the way he understands the situation is very similar to like the Norman stance and that's why right-wing
Immediately, we are 13 seconds in, and all of a sudden, Nickmercs saying, listen, I want everyone to just leave the kids alone, teach them the basics about the body, but the nuances can be taught by their parents. That becomes right-wing propaganda.
Is very nefarious. What do I mean by this? Because the right have basically turned this conversation of like acceptability and acceptance and like, trying to stop kids from getting bullied for being different into a conversation that is entirely separate.
No, that's not what that's not what people are doing. People aren't saying, hey, schools are trying to teach everybody to be nice to each other. That equals this whole other conspiracy theory. No,
from reality,
that's not what they're saying at all.
Reality. It basically.
What they're trying to say is things like this. There are books and things in school that when the teachers read them out, their own sort of advisory board is telling them, hey, shut up. We don't want to hear that. Well, if you don't want a mature adult reading it, why would you want a 5-year-old reading it? How confusing is that going to be? It's a confusing time. And there's a lot going on. And when you're 5 years old, do you really need to be told, hey, you have this body part and this body part, but if you feel another way, that's totally fine. It's not just me as well. This is somebody that worked with COD, saying that COD is dumb as fuck. This is Alex Zadra. She was, I think she worked with COD and she does like cosplays and stuff like that. And then there's like examples of very, very disturbing books being read out from kids in school. And the dad saying like he came home and found this book and it was basically teaching how to be with a man in the best possible way, all the techniques and everything. And the thing that's so surreal about all of this is when you've got like these big popular people reacting and all of this stuff, it gets way blown out of proportion. And he's ended up losing a big monetary and opportunity and probably gets cut off other businesses because he outspoke. I'm talking about Nickmercs. But he didn't say anything wrong here. He really didn't say anything wrong. And it's kind of absolutely outrageous, isn't it? You will have... There's like things you can discuss and praise and things that you can't discuss and praise on the internet. Like, you're not going to have companies come out and be like, listen, I think like an American company's not going to come out and be like, listen, I think guns are a major problem in America. That's going to get in trouble. But they will come out for a month and put a pride flag on their logo just for the month, though, just a month, because that won't get them in trouble, but it might earn them some positive PR. It's ridiculous. Yes, teach your children about how to not hate on people, how to be friendly, how to treat others equally. But also on the flip side, right? Are you telling me that in the people that make Call of Duty, you don't have different religions and different groups of people that make Call of Duty? Now, you telling me like Muslims, Christians, there's all kinds of different thoughts and viewpoints of all these adults. Are you telling me they all truly believe that a 5-year-old should be taught how to, quote, lie with a man properly? If so, are you going to fire all the Christians? Are you going to fire the Muslims? Are you going to come out and say that, this country, Dubai, doesn't accept pride, so we're never going to accept any money from the Dubai region? Or you've got companies like Blizzard and stuff, they do like the pride events, and they're taking all their money from China. And it's like, they're just picking and choosing the outrage. And then you have like people like Hassan. Why is Hassan involving himself in this? He's involving himself in this so he can give some like mid take that all of his followers are going to agree with. He's not going to get in trouble. It backs up his like socialist. I'm a bajillionaire socialist, you know, that lives in a mansion, you know, but hey, I've really all got your backs, guys. Trust me, I'm one of you guys. But no, it's just there's no need for it. There's literally no need for Nickmercs' bundle to be removed from the store. No need for it to be removed from the store. And I actually think Nickmercs here is very, very brave for standing up and speaking in what he believes in. And what he actually believes in is, I think, what most people believe in. You shouldn't be teaching a 5-year-old about the fact that, hey, I know you've got this body part, but if you feel another way, let us know. And we'll then start the train of, hey, if you feel this way, we can start hormone therapy, we can start drugs, we can transition you, we can do all this. And then we end up with a super high suicide rate, even at the end of transition. All of this stuff could be discussed by doctors. I mean, you've got this thing here, which is like, what is a woman documentary? It was free on Twitter and it gained about 180 million views, and it was a full 1 hour documentary. And this guy, basically, to cut a long story short, was just asking people, hey, I'd just like to, he was going into universities and places of work, and he was saying, hey, I'd just like to ask you a question. What is a woman? And nobody dared answer the question. That's where we've got to. It's ridiculous. So whatever you think about each side, whether you agree with it or you disagree with it, we can all agree that you should be allowed to discuss it. You should be allowed to oppose a certain viewpoint or not oppose a certain viewpoint if you're discussing it in a fair and reasonable manner. Nickmercs did not say anything wrong. And they're just doing this shitty PR. Hey, we're going to pull it from the game. So embarrassing. You know, it's crazy. Yeah, hold on. So someone's opinion that wasn't even homophobic gets his skin removed. He didn't say anything wrong. You know, it's wild. The guy literally, says, can we try protect children? And that's what is deemed unoffensive. It's crazy. This is true. This is what I was saying about the Dubai money. A company that had LGBTQ flags in the game at launch, but not USA flags, a game about military. So yeah, you've got more flags about sexuality than the military. And also, it's like the equivalent of, I don't know, I can't give a perfect example, but remember, there are certain countries that don't want these flags in their game and they don't appear in their game, but they won't mention that. So yeah, it's kind of a bit like Riot Games. It's a bit like Riot Games where they did like a big showcase of, like, I think it might have even been a cinematic about it might have been two male characters fallen in love, but they didn't do that marketing in a different region because they know that goes against their values, but they still want to keep their money. Now, if Riot Games or Call of Duty were truly meaning their stance on these things, they would stick to their stance throughout the country. What they would say is, hey, China, hey, other region, if you want to play our game, these things have to be in the game because we believe in equality and we believe in LGBTQ plus rights. So these flags and everything and these storylines and these characters, they stay in the game. And if you don't like it, we're not putting the game in your region. Instead, what they do is they just remove it, act like it never happened, and then do all of the promotional events in the West. And then if anyone opposes it, they're wrong. It's mad. So yes, his bundle has been removed from the store because he said, I think we should protect children and parents should look after that side of things, the more complex, nuanced side, on their own. And that will get you hate these days.